Well, yesterday, the young Colombian, Salim Hanna, roasted the opposition. Will he make them wake up and smell the coffee this morning here at Silverstone? Welcome along to day two of the Veritools British F4, certified by FIA. The first time we've had FIA, F4, F3, F2 and F1 in that order, logically, as well, coverage for you today as we look forward to the second race of the weekend. I was probably a little bit generous saying that Salim Hanna roasted the opposition yesterday. It was a good close race at the front, and the drivers second and third did well to keep him in their sights. It was a fascinating race, punctuated by two safety cars. It actually ended under safety car as well. Yesterday's race was based on the drivers' second fastest grid times, and today is the sort of traditional headline race, as it were, and we have the fastest drivers, their best time setting the grid as is traditional. And pole position today going to Fionn McLaughlin, the young man from Northern Ireland there in the number 5. The yellow background on the number denoting he is a first-year car driver, fresh out of karting from last season, and as you can see, running with the Red Bull livery, so part of the Red Bull Academy. We've got 3 drivers racing in F1 Academy with us in the grid. We've got Ethan Jeff Hall, who's a Mercedes AMG F1 junior, and we've also got Ella Lloyd, part of the McLaren driver development program as well. Alongside Fionn McLaughlin on the front row is young Tommy Harfield there in the Chris Dittman Racing. Lovely livery from Chris Dittman. It really does stand out from the others. Chris just to the right there of the two guys standing behind the car. And don't the cars look absolutely fantastic for this wonderful weekend that we're looking forward to? Well, let's have a look at the grid for you. As we mentioned, Fionn McLaughlin starts on pole position. He took third place yesterday, so a good podium from not a reverse grid, but the second fastest lap. We had Tommy Harfield is P2. Salim Hanna, yesterday's winner, withstood a lot of pressure yesterday from Ethan Jeff Hall. Thomas Behrman, the brother of Ollie Behrman, who we'll see in F1 a little bit later on. Thomas in his first year of F4, first full year, starting 4th. Ethan Jeff Hall had a career best, I say career, it's only his first season in F4, the reigning Ginetta Junior champion, so moving from junior sports car racing into single-seaters. And he took a very good second position yesterday. Alongside him, driver who should be starting third on the grid, and that's Martin Molnar, but he had a 3-place grid penalty handed to him overnight, and that was for contact with the McLaren driver I mentioned, Ella Lloyd, in the early stages of yesterday's race. So Martin Molnar, who's second in the F4 Championship, has a 3-place penalty in start 6, but we could expect him to maybe make a little bit more ground over the course of the race. Rowan Campbell-Pilling is next up. He had problems yesterday. We'll come to that a little bit later on. 8th position is Ari Bansal, who is with Fortec. Theo Palmer next up from a newcomer this weekend, Alexander Savinkov. Ella Lloyd we've spoken about already, and Jimmy Pazik, who is one of the championship front runners, really off the pace so far this weekend, down in 12th. Then it's Henry Jocelyn 13th for Fortec. August Raber for Argenti 14th on the grid, ahead of Rodin's Adam Alazari and Leo Robinson, multi-race winner from last year. Yu Haofu had a great day yesterday, the Chinese driver, up in 10th place. Xavier Avramides next up from Guy Albage. Emily Cotti 20th from Charlie Edge and Nina Gaidman. Tom Ingram Hill 23rd from Esme Kosterman. And the grid completed by Ava Dobson and Jabba Al-Sabah. He has a penalty as well of 2 places after contact yesterday with Tom Ingram Hill and Guy Albage. Grid looking absolutely resplendent here at Silverstone. The crowd's beginning to build, and their treat for the early arrivals here at Silverstone is a full grid of F4. That is just such a magnificent shot of these cars. We rarely get to see that view on our TV cameras. There is young Thomas Behrman, again, yellow background, remember, first-year car driver. May have done a little bit towards the end of last year, perhaps 2 meetings or so, but if it's your first full season in cars, you run the yellow background, and that's for a separate competition within the overall championship, which is for the rookie drivers. And, well, there are rookies and rookies, but some of the drivers, of course, that raced in junior formulae such as Fiesta Juniors, Tommy Harfield, and the Ginetta Junior Champion. I don't think we've got any drivers from the Junior Saloon Championship that move up. But if you race the junior formula, basically you're not eligible to, if you've done a full season, not eligible to run in the Rookie Championship. Now, I've been talking about championships, but this weekend, I think slotted into the calendar after the championship regulations were finalised and signed off, basically. So this is the 2 non-championship races. Does that work out for everyone in the championship? Well, I think Fionn McLaughlin probably wishes it was championship, because he would have extended his championship lead yesterday with the result that he had. And the other point scorer in the top drivers was Martin Molnar, and Martin got 6 points, but Fionn McLaughlin got 27. As we've said, huge crowd. We're expecting nearly 500,000 people here, and it is a treat for those that have got here early to enjoy the F4 action. And of course the support's always every bit as enjoyable as the GP, and it's going to bring a lot of people into the support racing. People will come here, see the Formula 2, Formula 3, Formula 4 and think, do you know what, we might come and watch some lower level racing here in the UK and enjoy the action. The F4, of course, normally part of the British touring car package, so that's another great event that you can come along to and enjoy some top class racing all the way through the day's programme. So Fionn McLaughlin leads them round. Top karting driver last season. First met him in the Ginetta Junior Scholarship, which he was one of the finalists for. And he's a great little character, a super driver, top of the championship standings, as we say, coming in here. This non-championship, next round proper for these cars is at Zandvoort, another GP venue, of course. And the drivers all very much looking forward to going there. This is their second outing on the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit this season. Couple of drivers, championship drivers, missing this weekend, which is a pity due to budgets and holidays and things like that, which were booked before this particular date came in. There is Adam Al-Azhari, the Rodin driver based in the Emirates. His brother Keanu also races, did a partial 2024 campaign in Spanish F4. There is David Behrman. Nice to have both of his youngsters racing here today. Hasn't got to go to 2 different circuits this weekend, or keep an eye on timing screens and such like when the 2 lads are away racing. And David, as I mentioned in yesterday's coverage, a former race driver himself in production sports cars with the, we've got a spinner. That's 12. That is Adam Al-Azhari we mentioned. It's certainly a Rodin car. Thankfully, Adam will get going. Adam was a race winner here at Silverstone back in May. He won the reverse grid, or the partially reverse grid race, but manages to rejoin, which is good news, down behind Jabba Al-Sabah, who had the penalty, but the car's now coming into line. Fionn McLaughlin yesterday on the podium. I think I made the comment he wasn't looking overly happy. It was probably some of the drivers a little bit in awe of being on the Formula 1 podium, to be perfectly honest. They're coming into line is Ava Dobson in the blue 55 car, the American, based in Milwaukee, racing in F1 Academy this year, and having her British F4 debut. We are very nearly ready to go. F4 racing, this part of the ladder, the official FIA ladder, up to Formula 1, and away they go. Looks like a good start by Tommy Harfield, but Fionn McLaughlin goes right across the front of him and grabs the lead, comes out to grab the line as they go down into Abbey for the first time. That's a superb start. So it's McLaughlin leading, and I tell you what, Tommy Harfield has been passed as well, so Harfield is no longer in P2, so we've got Martin Molnar trying to come through from 6th position. So Molnar, we've got Salim Hanna coming up into 2nd place, so the young Colombian up into P2, yesterday's race winner, and he is hungry for a double here. He's got his mentor, Juan Pablo Montoya, watching, and he was one of the first to congratulate him yesterday, but 2 rookie drivers out front. So it is Hanna putting pressure on McLaughlin. Hanna, not in terms of, if we were thinking in terms of championship, not really a contender, because he hasn't done only done 1 event thus far, but this, of course, a big showcase for the young Colombian. Tommy Harfield in 3rd, Thomas Behrman in 4th place at the moment. Behrman trying to close down, and Hanna's going to go for the lead here. He's having a little look, showing himself in the mirrors. of Fionn McLaughlin as they go down into Copse. Let's see whether he can. This is one of the areas where they've got to be mindful of track limits. Up towards Beckett's, where we had the retirement, the exit of Beckett's yesterday. Love that shot as the cars go over the track cam. And McLaughlin here finding himself under a little bit of pressure. Rowan Campbell-Pilling is fifth in the 42 car. I did wonder whether it was some 42 was a reference to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but apparently it's 42 is the sum of his birthday and month, which is why he has 42. He'd never actually heard of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Not into books, apparently. He used to be into his racing apps at bedtime and hide his phone or his gadget, as Hannah has a little look at Fionn McLaughlin again, coming down into club. Let's see. Big pressure here for McLaughlin. Let's see whether he can stand it out. We've got a race on here as they come up to complete the end of the first lap. So, McLaughlin, Hannah, Harfield, Behrman, Campbell-Pilling in fifth. Good to see Campbell-Pilling having a decent start. Albaj getting stuck in there as well, the 17 Rodin car. But it's McLaughlin still out front as they weave their way back towards the Wellington Straight here. Field all looking in very good order at the minute. And McLaughlin is the man under a little bit of pressure. It's going to be interesting to see whether Hannah can repeat his fastest lap from yesterday as well. A bit of barging going on down the order as they try and sort themselves out. And here comes Hannah. He pulls out the slipstream. Is he going to get the overlap here? Can't quite do it. He was looking at the outside, but that wide run into the corner might give him a little bit more momentum. Tell you what, Tommy Harfield's closing up again. So for Hannah, yesterday could concentrate on the road in front, but now is the meat in the sarnie, really, in P2, because he's trying to chase McLaughlin. But significantly, and this is great news for Fionn, is that, well, I'll tell you what, Hannah is not worrying about Tommy Harfield, the third place car, the red, black with yellow trim car, raced Fiesta Juniors last year. So going from pretty not underpowered cars necessarily for these youngsters, but front-wheel drive saloon cars into slicks and wings single-seaters, and running very well here in third place. Tommy Harfield is a very quiet, affable, personable young man, race winner in Fiestas last year, and was originally, provisionally, championship leader after the first round of the year, which we had at Donington Park. Look at that wonderful shot of these cars all in line, and McLaughlin at the moment soaking up the pressure from Salim Hannah. Harfield drops away just a little bit for the moment. Thomas Behrman running strongly in fourth place. Fifth position is Campbell-Pilling, who retired yesterday. He was the only retiree from the race, the 42 car. There he is. Rowan got into the lead, started third, got into second off the start, made it into the lead, passed Hannah. So arguably the one driver to pass Hannah yesterday had a suspension failure yesterday. We didn't know whether it was a self-induced spin or maybe a very light tag, but it was actually a suspension failure, the Ackerman bolt, to be exactly 100% accurate into what went wrong. But he's having a better run today as Rowan Campbell-Pilling, so let's see whether he can make up more space. He is in fifth position at the moment. Ethan Jeff Hall sixth. Martin Molnar is in seventh position and has the fastest lap, Martin Molnar, so keep an eye on the 24 car, the Virtuosi team, but it's the Hitech man leading at the moment. Tommy Harfield getting closer and just jinks and has a look. That was as much about worrying the second place driver, I think, as maybe making a move. Then we've got the battle on for fifth position. Rowan Campbell-Pilling there sold a dummy on the first part of the corner and goes down the inside. Campbell-Pilling up into fourth place. Thomas Behrman dishevelled, goes on the gravel but collects it up very well indeed as Ethan Jeff Hall goes through. Thomas Behrman, well, you can excuse that. He's got the yellow background on his number. First-year driver, learning his craft here. But that was a great move by Rowan Campbell-Pilling up into fourth position. Meanwhile, in the pit, Xavier Avramides, the young Australian, comes from Queensland and was the Queensland karting states champion back in the day before making the move up into car racing this year. McLaughlin's still there, though, from Salim Hannah. Now, are they getting away, or has Tommy Harfield dropped back? Tommy is going to be mindful of the fact that Rowan Campbell-Pilling is there in fourth place, and he'll know that Rowan is on a charge because he'll see in his mirrors that the view has altered out from the last couple of laps, and that the 42 car is the one that's closing in now. Salim Hannah, though, looking pretty racy at the moment as he tries to close down on Fionn McLaughlin again and continue to put the Red Bull Junior under a little bit of pressure in the mix there. The 93 black and white car, Jimmy Pazik, was the championship leader, I think, after round 3, if memory recalls correctly. 46 car is Ari Bansal, beg your pardon, the young Indian driver from Bangalore. Now has caught up with Thomas Behrman. Then we've got Pazik behind, and Ella Lloyd makes a move there. The black and orange car, Ella Lloyd looking to go up the inside, converts to the outside for the next corner, and the Ella, who is running very strongly at the moment in F1 Academy, really learning her trade, has done very little. I said yesterday, Ella didn't come up through the karting ranks. She's a great sports person, that orange and black car, but basically came through skiing and show jumping and then decided to have a go at motor racing and has done that very well. She was vice champion in the Ginetta GT series before coming back into, or not coming back into, before moving into single-seaters with F4. So here we go then, great battle going on here. It's Salim Hanna trying to take the battle to the Red Bull of McLaughlin. Great that Red Bull and pole as well for the F1 race this afternoon with Max Verstappen. But here comes Hanna, he's got the lead, goes down the inside, got a great run there, positioned the car superbly, and Salim Hanna goes through into the lead. And Fionn McLaughlin, let's see what he's got in reserve now. The man who set pole position. Hanna was the second fastest time in qualifying yesterday, and has got, is he going to get away here from, he's moving away, so this could be a third win of the season for Hanna. And I tell you what, it's now Tommy Harfield who's getting stuck in third place, so Harfield now feels that he can have a little nibble at Fionn McLaughlin, but Harfield being closed on by Rowan Campbell-Pilling as well. Here comes Harfield. I tell you what, Fionn McLaughlin doesn't look happy at the moment because he's down to third. He was the leader, pole position, down to second, now down to third. That could be fourth because Campbell-Pilling gets a good exit out of club, tees himself up the inside line. And the Hitech car not looking happy. Fionn McLaughlin, we've seen in win races this year, he is the championship leader. Remember, this is non-championship, but that puts Rowan Campbell-Pilling up onto a podium place, and he's going to have a go at Tommy Harfield now, for sure, is Rowan. Remember, the only driver to pass Salim Hanna, side-by-side Martin Molnar with Theo Palmer in the 25. So Martin Molnar in the 24. I beg your pardon, Ethan Jeff Hall in the 25, and Ethan was on the podium yesterday, and Martin Molnar, who was one of our hard chargers yesterday. There is a hard charger award for the driver that makes up the most places. He lost a little bit of ground on the opening laps when he had the tangle with Ella Lloyd, which he got penalised for by Andy Butler, our wonderful clerk of the course for F4. So certainly Martin Molnar, again, a driver who has led the championship, running well. Let's see what Molnar can do now about Ethan Jeff Hall. Ethan now down behind Fionn McLaughlin. Those two both on the podium yesterday. Hanna is the leader. So a little bit earlier, let's have a look at what happened here. We've got a spin for Esme Kosterman. A little bit of contact, the driver from the Netherlands. Esme, another driver who's raced Fiestas, not junior Fiestas, I hasten to add. That was the problem for Xavier Avramides. He's the car that we saw in the pit lane a little bit earlier on. So there you go, and you can see why. Xavier doing a good job to get that car, if that was before the pit stop. So Ethan Jeff Hall in the 25, looking to get stuck in here to Thomas Behrman. And then down behind Behrman, we've got Ari Bansal, the Indian driver, in the red and white Fortec. Ari has really become the leading Fortec driver. Fortec have had some real pace this year. The likes of Henry Jocelyn, who was the lone driver in the early meetings, had 2 double poles, but couldn't convert those into the win. And now Ari Bansal's come in, racing in GB4, which is the kind of domestic championship rather than the FIA-sanctioned championship, which you're watching now. And he's running strongly in that and has been the flag bearer over the last couple of weekends for the Fortec team. So I think settling down nicely just under 14 minutes to go here at Silverstone, an early start. They say that you can't get teenagers out of bed, but this is a very early start for these ones, and they are running well. Let's see what Bansal can do, challenging Ethan Jeff Hall. Ethan, the reigning Ginetta Junior champion, had a super season last year, did Ethan in the 25 car. 6 wins and a further 8 podiums, the youngster from Lancaster. Meanwhile, Rowan Campbell-Pilling still in 3rd place, trying to chase down Tommy Harfield. Bansal still busy chasing Ethan Jeff Hall. Harry Bansal yesterday finishing in 11th, so he's 3 places to the good over his performance yesterday, and looks down the inside of Ethan Jeff Hall side by side. But Jeff Hall knows the lay of the land on the track, keeps the lead momentarily, but eventually has to cede it to Harry Bansal, who's got some work to do now to try and catch up with Thomas Behrman. It's a queue behind now. I watched the black and white car, the 93, that's the Rodin car, coming under pressure from August Raber. The 93 and the 47, both race winners, and Ella Lloyd goes up past August Raber. August Raber won 2 races at the opening round of the year, and Ella Lloyd slices past them, read the race well there, did the young Welshwoman, goes through, makes up a position, the McLaren Junior driver. Look how close these are. Massive field. By this stage, a lot of people tend to think of single-seaters as single-file racing, but that shot shows you it is anything but, as Lloyd runs a little bit wide there. Lloyd making progress, trying to get up into the top 10. If this were a championship race, top 10 being the championship points. Pazik in 9th, the 93 black and white Rodin car, started 12th. That would have been, if we'd had a reverse grid, a partial reverse grid race this weekend, would have been, as we get a lock up there from Raber, still getting stuck in. So Raber, Lloyd there as well, Savinkov in the mix as well, our new driver, Ukrainian driver, first time. I hope he's going to come out and play with the championship as well, as Martin Molnar now goes up into 4th place. McLaughlin not having the happiest of races here, capable of so much more. Fionn McLaughlin had a good race yesterday up onto the podium as Tom Ingram-Hill for Fortec is in the pits. Another driver who isn't a rookie, but because he did a full season with us in Ginetta Junior last year, and having his 2nd outing in FIA F4, has raced in GB4 as well. Ella Lloyd still busy dicing here with Savinkov, and it's the Ukrainian out front, head of the Welshwoman at the moment. Let's see whether Ella can fight back, but she's got August Raber right behind her as well. And as I say, considering Ella hasn't done karts as a youngster, has really got to grips with motor racing, and I think that says a lot about the sporting pedigree that she had. Down behind her is Guy Albage, who's done very well indeed. Started 19th on the grid, Albage, and come through up into 14th. And again, a debut driver, the young Israeli, running very well indeed, and he was very quick yesterday. Started making moves through the field. Albage in the 17. Now we're hearing that Fionn McLaughlin has come into the pits, the championship leader. He didn't look happy, to be absolutely fair. Albage in the 17 still running well. Dicing with Theo Palmer at the moment. Frequently asked whether Theo Palmer is related to the Palmer F1 dynasty. It's not the case as far as I'm aware. Yu Hao Fu in the 69, a little bit further back than he was yesterday in the red, white and blue 69 car. There is Emily Cotty, and there is McLaughlin. That is very, very sad to see, but he will no doubt bounce back. Podium for him yesterday in front of the big crowd here on F1 qualifying day, as Salim Hanna is away and down the road. 2nd position, Tommy Harfield. 3rd is Rowan Campbell-Pilling. Said yesterday Rowan had such bad luck this season, he was due some good luck, and I think I put the curse of the commentator on him yesterday. We'll try not to do that again today, as Ella Lloyd comes under pressure here from August Raber. August looks down the inside. Ella's got the inside for the next corner and holds on now as they go through Woodcote out of Luffield, and then through Woodcote onto the main straight of the national circuit. They would go and down towards Copse Corner. Jimmy Pazik coming under pressure now from Savinkov. And Pazik, as we said, actually won 2 races here at Silverstone back in May. Won both the fastest off the front races, but rode him were sort of conspicuous by their absence from the very top. A little bit of an incident here. 27 is Charlie Edge, who just gets tagged there. Charlie was involved in something yesterday, was deemed not to have been his fault. And going through is Jabba Al-Sabah. Actually, both of those drivers were involved in yesterday's incident, and that might be looked at again by Andy Butler. Charlie Edge doing the Challenge Trophy this year, which is for drivers who can't commit for whatever reason, budgetary or holidays or work or other formulae commitments. You can't do a full championships. He's one of the challenge runners. Did get a rookie podium on his first outing with us at Donington Park with Charlie Edge, but I don't think he's going to get a rookie podium today, as Ella Lloyd now sets about Jimmy Pazik and has a look here. Ella Lloyd has got the line here, and he's going to take the position. Good driving from Pazik, saw it, tries to hold on the outside, but knew that the job was complete there by Ella. As coming up now is Leo Robinson. Leo, the youngest ever driver to win a Ginetta Junior race, is very, very talented driver. The one thing we've got to say from this year, it's a point I made yesterday. There is Fionn McLaughlin. Yeah, poor old Fionn. Now, for those watching, and there's a bit of a debate as to how you say the name, but I've known Fionn since he was in the Ginetta Junior Scholarship. As I said, he was a finalist, and he doesn't mind being called Finn or Fionn, just to clarify it for anybody who knows. His dad calls him Fionn. A lot of other people call him Finn. So I think a few people were commenting on whether it was being said correctly or not, but he is known as Finn, but his name is Fionn, and that's the correct family name. As Jimmy Pazik carries on there ahead of August Raber, two guys that were prolific winners at the start of the season, and a little bit further back at the moment, down in 11th and 12th place. And I'll come back to the point I was trying to make earlier on, which is this championship this year is so competitive. Yesterday's race, the top 7 positions on the grid yesterday were 7 different teams. We have not seen that before in FIA F4. It is so competitive this year. Sometimes you get a driver that dominates, but no one team dominating in qualifying yesterday. As Raber has a look at Pazik. Raber in the blue and white 47, goes through, passes the reigning Australian F4 champion, Jimmy Pazik, makes a great move. Jimmy will try and fight back. Second-year driver with us. Spent last year at home in Oz, but raced with us the year before last. Here's Guy Albaj. He's been a very welcome addition to the grid, up in 13th place, been very quick indeed. Theo Palmer down behind Albaj at the moment. Adam Alazari coming under pressure from Ava Dobson. So Ava's having a very good run. Another Chris Dittman car. That one, not the Chris Dittman red, yellow and black livery, but running in the blue 55. The 17-year-old from Milwaukee took 9th place here at Silverstone in GB4 and made her debut in the F1 Academy race at Miami. 22nd in the GB4 Championship at the moment is Ava, having a very good race here, I've got to say, acquitting herself very well indeed. Her first time in FIA F4. So this is Tommy Harfield. We will look at Tommy Harfield. Now we go with the race leader, Salim Hanna, for Virtuosi Racing. He's having an absolutely cracking weekend here. He won on his debut, Salim Hanna, which was race 3 at Thruxton. And that was around about a month ago, and really getting to grips with this car, and super stuff from him. Be interesting to see what he would be like if Fionn McLaughlin had maybe had full pace, but he's away. Look at that. Tommy Harfield running a very good second position at the moment in the 21, the Chris Dittman team, and then it is Rowan Campbell pinning for JHR, Stephen Hunter's team, named after his late brother Jamie Hunter. Then it's Martin Molnar, who's come through for 4th place, so a 2-place gain on his grid start. By Martin Molnar, Ethan Jeff Hall goes through as well. Thomas Behrman behind Ethan Jeff Hall. There is Molnar. If we get a close-up of the crash helmet, you can see he's got like tyre marks over the top of it. It's a great crash helmet if you get a chance to do a grid walk or go and talk to the drivers in the paddock with F4. He's a great lad and worth having a chat to. So Hanna 4 seconds clear. It's going to be one of the biggest winning margins we've had for a while if it stays that way. Thomas Behrman busy trying to close up after being squeezed wide earlier on. And trying to close in on retake Martin Molnar, which he was just about to do. Was going to have a look down the inside. Here is Henry Jocelyn, ace pole man, who's had 4 poles, but side by side, Behrman and Molnar. So Behrman, the Brit, chasing the Hungarian there side by side. How is this one going to pan out between the two of them? And he's got the run coming down into Brooklands, the left-hander, and Behrman read that superbly. Behrman goes through on the inside, sets himself up well. So, through Luffield, round into Woodcote. Great move by Thomas Behrman. And that really underlines the pace he had in qualifying. He's putting that race pace back. Good recovery from him. Just 1 place shy now of an outright podium. Our last championship race winner, Thomas Behrman. And good stuff from him. Now, he's going to be chasing after Rowan Campbell-Pilling. Rowan, a second-year driver, not running with the yellow background, the 42, still in 3rd place. 2:56 to go on the clock. Let's have a look at the move, and we're looking down the Wellington Straight. He's got the inside line here. Martin Molnar could have maybe attempted to hang around the outside, but he wants to finish the race, does Martin. Look at that. And Tad David, I'll tell you what, he's taught those youngsters a great deal. I know that we get lads and dads, and the lads are quicker than the dad and tend to be quicker than they were back in the day, but David was a very good competitor in the, I think, Porsche Boxsters. Remember commentating on a few of those back in the day, and the lads following in his wheel tracks and actually setting wheel tracks of their own, to be absolutely fair. This is Ethan Jeff Hall, 7th and 8th, with Alexander Savinkov busy challenging him, and Alexander's been a very useful addition this weekend and is all over Ethan Jeff Hall. Ethan, as I said, this is his first season in single-seaters, so even though he doesn't have the yellow background, he's not a car rookie, he is to single-seaters, and he's bedding himself into this championship well. A fine 2nd position yesterday, and this is great racing experience for him, again with a driver he's not used to being on track with. So Alexander running well for Virtuosi. Alexander, another driver who has plied his trade in Italian F4. Ella Lloyd closing in on them as well. So Ella up ahead of Leo Robinson now, and into 9th place. So Ella Lloyd, great stuff from her. Started 11th on the grid, maybe dropped a little bit in the early stages, but we've seen the McLaren training driver do. But now look at this, Robinson coming back. Great bit of racing between the pair of them, trading places. It's very much the definition of racing, isn't it? We see one pass and then a repass, maybe a corner or so later. And that's what F4, the FIA F4 Championship provides. The championship sponsored by Wera Tools. And as I say, that championship will resume in 2 weeks' time at Zandvoort. Ella Lloyd still fighting hard. Let's see whether she can go through. Again, another very quiet driver, reserved personality is Ella Lloyd. Has been on the podium many times this year in F1 Academy. She's 4th in the standings there, and mixing up the campaign with the FIA F4 and F1 Academy. And looks like Robinson starting to get away just a little bit now. Close in on Savinkov, who in turn is chasing Ethan Jeff Hall. And that 25 car in 7th position at the moment. Hannah's got the gap out to almost 6 seconds out front. Still has the fastest lap again, does Salim Hannah. Qualifying lap record went yesterday, but the lap record in terms of race is still held by Deegan Fairclough, who was last year's champion. Actually sewed it up with, was it 1.5 meetings to spare, I think. Deegan moving up now into GB3 for this year, and won the BRDC Autosport Award last year, did Deegan Fairclough, to help him along. Very talented driver. Again, another driver who came through the saloon car junior route and acquitted himself very well indeed. Now, clock is run down, as you can see from the timing tower, and Rowan Campbell-Pilling is closing in on Tommy Harfield. Whether it's going to be too late for a challenge remains to be seen, but as Harfield pushed his tyres too much, they're hitting round Brooklands and Luffield now into Woodcote. Campbell-Pilling has got his sights set on 2nd position, but Tommy Harfield has driven well. 7/10 the gap at the minute between these two. Chris Dittman Racing chasing JHR. CDR chasing their first outright race win in F4. JHR have had many wins over the course of the years, were also outright champions in 2021 with Matthew Rees taking the title for them. Back to Leo Robinson. So Leo in 9th place. Ella Lloyd is in 10th place. Lost a little bit of ground. Savinkov coming under pressure from Leo Robinson, who's had a very good later part of the race. And Ethan Jeff Hall under a little bit of pressure. Here comes Robinson, goes down the inside, pops the car down at exactly the right time and forces the 19 car on the escape road. Now, will Savinkov think that Robinson needs to give the place back? Looked clean by Robinson for me. And Ella Lloyd is closing in now as well. Robinson tries to have a look down the inside, shaking off the Ukrainian driver as they head down through Vale, down towards Club Corner once again. Ella Lloyd fancies a go now as well. She's going to try and close up and get up into 9th place, and that might happen because Robinson and Savinkov, if they engage in battle, are going to potentially slow each other up. Now the gap, Tommy Harfield has closed the gap a little bit to Hannah, but I suspect that Salim Hannah on the last lap has maybe just backed off the pace a little bit. It's dropped, it was a shade under 6 seconds, the gap, but now down to 5.6 seconds. Harfield still in P2. Let's have a look at, yep, that was Savinkov just grabbing the curbs. The sausage curbs can do a lot of damage to cars and drivers. I've seen worse ones, to be fair, but it can be a jolt. I'll tell you what, Savinkov did a very good job there of not letting that affect his racing. He just carried on and cracked on with it. So Salim Hannah leads on the last lap. This is the 3rd place car we're looking at. Rowan Campbell-Pilling at last getting the rub of the green and in P3, but he wants to 2nd position and is chasing Tommy Harfield. But the gap, I think Tommy Harfield looking in control, barring any issues on the last lap. It's going to be Tommy coming through for a 2nd position. And the challenge runner, I say one of the quietest drivers on the grid is Tommy Harfield, but a super result, and one feels that he will be the driver to give Chris Dittman Racing at some point their first win in the championship. Salim Hannah has a quick look around him and comes down the hanger straight for the last time in lead position. Harfield looking fairly safe in 2nd place. Campbell-Pilling in 3rd. That's been settled, I think, barring any big issues, but Salim Hannah is coming through Club Corner and getting ready to make it 2 out of 2 this weekend. What an addition to FIA F4 he has been, and will buzz the pit wall, takes the checkered flag, and the 15-year-old from Colombia does it again. 2 wins out of 2. Tommy Harfield takes 2nd place. Rowan Campbell-Pilling is on the podium as well. A little bit further back, Ella Lloyd putting pressure on Alexander Savinkov. Ella in the black and orange. Has been a good drive from Ella Lloyd. 10th position would have got her in the points had it been a championship race. Up ahead of them, Ari Bansal in 6th place. Ahead of Ari, it was Martin Molnar 5th, with Bansal next up from Leo Robinson, Ethan Jeff Hall in 8th, and then Savinkov and Lloyd 9th and 10th. August Raber comes through for 11th. Jimmy Pazik down in 12th place. That's your top dozen. But yesterday, the celebration for Salim Hannah was, I wouldn't say muted, but he was very cool, calm and collecting about taking it in his stride. And that is a 3rd career win for him. He's actually now won half of the FIA F4 race wins for the Virtuosi team, who have very, very definitely arrived. Martin Molnar was the first driver to get an outright, fastest off the front win for Virtuosi. And now Salim Hannah added the 2nd one of those and bagged 2 this weekend as well, as he takes the plaudits of the marshals and crowds here. Big thank you to the marshals for their sterling work, all they do. We'll see marshals here today at Silverstone, but there is club racing going on right the way up and down the country, both in cars and bikes, and we can't race without the marshals. A massive, massive thank you for everything that they do to keep us racing. What a good race that was. An absolute thrill for F4 to join the Qatar Airways British Grand Prix meeting of 2025 here at Silverstone. I hope it can happen again in the future. It would be an absolutely mega thing to see. The first time, of course, that we've had all 4 FIA formulae on the bill together. And Salim Hannah perfect weekend for him. Apart from, he didn't get that outright pole. He had 2 fastest laps. Outright pole going to Fionn McLaughlin. And Salim got fastest lap yesterday. It won't niggle him that he didn't get the outright pole because he's won the race anyway from 3rd on the grid. But muted wave from him. Tommy Harfield will take that 2nd position, the 16-year-old from Worcestershire. And Tommy will crack on with his championship aspirations. I've got a feeling Tommy Harfield will be maybe ruining. This wasn't a championship meeting because Harfield will probably have got up to 4th place in the championship again on the points that he's bagged from race 2 here. So the car's coming down into victory lane, and top 3 have done it. The 3rd place car, as I say, Rowan Campbell-Pilling has had so much bad luck over the course of the season. He was one of the top rookies last year, and we were expecting him to be dicing for outright championship honours. And I think for Rowan now and the JHR team, it's all about maybe taking race wins and getting podiums whenever they can. That he'll be happy to get a 3rd place position here in front of a massive crowd as Salim Hanna crosses himself, claps, applauds the team, thumbs up for everyone down in victory lane. And again, very calm. We've got his mentor, Juan Pablo Montoya. What a great sight that is. Virtuosi Racing. Really wonderful to see them top line. As I say, it's great to see teams making their way up the ladder, and Virtuosi, you know, were race winners before. The first win they had was Michael Shin, and then Akil Alibi. Chris Dittman Racing. There is Chris himself chatting to Tommy Harfield. I think he's delighted with what Tommy's done. And so close, Tommy Harfield, to getting his first win. It will happen, mark my words. Tommy Harfield will get it. But Juan Pablo Montoya, Jacob Ebrey, the noted photographer, just exiting to the left of shot. Always keen to get the moment is Jacob, one of the finest photographers that we have in the UK. And he's going to grab a candid shot there. Shot as Rowan Campbell-Pilling. And you can see the handshakes between the teams as well done, Rowan. All of these lads are absolutely great drivers. More importantly than that, they're great company. They're really good guys to spin a yarn, have a chat with, and great little personalities. And Rowan, out of the 3 of them, is a lot more outgoing, say, than Tommy Harfield, as Juan Pablo and Salim pose for more pictures. As I say, all sorts of personalities we get there. Jacob's still not happy with the pictures that he's got, so he's going to drag them up towards the F1 podium, which is where they'll get their big moment once again. Liz from F4 doing the social media stuff in the foreground there as well. Let's give you a rundown, though, of the official results. See where your own favourite driver finished in the course of that one. Salim Hanna takes a 2nd win of the weekend and fastest lap. Tommy Harfield P2 and Rowan Campbell-Pilling completing our podium. Thomas Behrman had a good race, coming through into 4th place, recovering from early issues. Martin Molnar in 5th from Ari Bunsell. Then it was Leo Robinson 7th from Ethan Jeff Hall. Alexander Savinkov completes his first FIF or British meeting in 9th. Ella Lloyd rounding out the top 10. Good performance from her. August Raber 11th from James Bezique. Jimmy to his mates. Guy Albage in 13th from Jabba Al-Sabah. Had a great run through from the back into 14th. Adam Alazari next from Ava Dobson. Emily Cotty was 17th from Esme Kosterman. Theo Palmer down in 19th. Yu Hao Fu, 10th yesterday, doubles that, 20th today for Yu Hao. Henry Jocelyn, the main poleman this year, 21st. What a topsy-turvy weekend we've had. Charlie Edge, 22nd from Nina Gaidman. And the final finisher was Xavier Avramides. Had that puncture, we saw him in the pits earlier on. And Xavier has been on rookie podiums this year. He will be back, I am sure, at later rounds, probably starting with Zandvoort next time out. That's Rory Campbell-Pilling, Rowan's dad, who is going to be absolutely delighted. Thanks, Rory, for sending messages through and keeping me updated over the course of yesterday evening. And it's Rowan that will join us on the... Look at that wonderful shot. You don't get this anywhere else apart from a Grand Prix meeting. And Rowan Campbell-Pilling in P3 on the podium. He wanted to finish higher up, I'm sure, but to be on the podium at a Grand Prix meeting is so, so good. There's Tommy Harfield, chalk and cheese personality-wise with Rowan. Rowan's very outgoing, right on the nail in terms of commercial stuff. Tommy, a great driver, but the different characters, he's so shy. But here is Salim Hanna coming through, 2 wins out of 2. What a performance. I do hope he joins us for more British Championship races this year, and that we get to see him, Fionn, McLaughlin, the 2 lads that we've got here, plus the others battling it out over the course of the season. I think the Colombian national anthem nearly caught us all out again, including Salim. We did yesterday. And Hugh Chambers, who is the CEO of Motorsport UK, who look after the change, run the championship, organise it superbly. Hugh does the honours. He was with us here at Silverstone for the May round and presented the trophies. A representative there from Virtuosi, our winning team, picking up the trophy as well. But lovely to see Hugh doing the honours here. Tommy Harfield takes P2. And for me, lovely to see drivers that I've not worked with many of the drivers in karting, but Tommy Harfield I had the pleasure of working with last year in Fiesta Juniors with the BRSCC. And lovely to see him here on a Grand Prix podium. And same with Rowan Campbell-Pilling, a driver that we met for the first time in F4 last year. All of those 3 lads very, very marketable as well and deserve to go further up the FIA ladder. Bubbly time for those guys. Rowan doesn't want to waste it all and grabs a quick drink. His day is done, but he's going to enjoy the rest of the Grand Prix Sunday here at Silverstone for sure. Tommy Harfield and Salim Hanna. There's some good camaraderie there on the podium as well, which is wonderful to see from our 3 drivers. And I've got to say, the paddock this year for F4 is as strong as ever, both in terms of a lot of the drivers know each other, working their way up through karting. Those that don't integrate with the grouping and paddock very, very quickly indeed. And they all get on. Sure, there's the odd little gripe. Andy Butler, the clerk of the course, sorts that out. I'm going to give a shout out to Andy. He's a great guy, and in my opinion, the right guy to be the clerk of the course for this wonderful championship. So a great morning, great start to the morning. Fionn McLaughlin started on pole, but had to give second best to Salim Hanna, who takes a 2nd win here in F4. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of the day, and we'll sign off now from FIA F4. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.